What's going on? Today I'm going to be ranking my favorite characters in Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Just a disclaimer, this list will mainly focus on the main characters of the Ouroboros party, but towards the end I will give a few honorable mentions to my favorite hero and member of Mobius. I think the cast in this game is really strong, and making this ranking was way harder than I could have imagined. Except for number 6. Number 6, we have Taion. Do I really need to explain why I hate Taion? It's because he's black. I'm just kidding. But really, I don't like Taion for the most part. I think they did a good job for the design of his character, you know, him being like the smartass and all that. But it's not a design I'm very fond of. Their goal when he was first introduced definitely was for the player not to like him, because, you know, he was that guy that didn't want to team up with everybody. But for me, it stayed that way for most of the game. Of course he has his moments. Heck, my first Xenoblade 3 video was about him. If you want to watch that one, I'll link it in the description. But I think he also has a really cool Ouroboros form.
But how the fuck do you not know what a high five is, you numbskull?
I do, however, think he is one of the better voiced characters in the game. I especially like it when you pick his chain attack order. I can understand if you really like Taion, but for the most part, he isn't my cup of tea. Now coming in at number 5, we have Mio. I really like Mio, and it definitely feels disingenuous to put her this low, but that just shows how strong this cast is. Mio is definitely one of those characters that has many different sides to her. On one hand, she is a super serious protagonist with a lot of backstory, and on the other hand, she could be a childish goofball. She punched a Mobius straight in the face! Seriously, that is one of my favorite parts of the game, and it is a good thing she held back on Noah, or else Mr. Snaps wouldn't have been stopped. Mio is the oldest member of the party, which is very important in the story considering she only has a couple months left to live before her homecoming. And if there's one thing I don't like, it was how much they shoved this down our throats. Like, we get it, she's going to die soon. Just for her not to die. M swapped positions with Mio to save her and sacrifice herself since N is a dipshit. But I really feel like that was a bit cheesy. Especially with how insane the end of Chapter 5 was. But that's all I really have to say about Mio. She is a really solid character in my opinion, just not quite as good as some of her peers. Also, if you use long hair Mio, you have absolutely no taste. I had a lot of trouble bouncing between two characters for the number 4 and 3 spots, but at number 4 I had to settle on Lance.
That's so horrible.
But Aaron,
that is
who
so
cares
horrible.
Lance is our first member of Kevis on the list, and at the start of the game, Lance was one of my favorite characters. And while he did have some character development, it just wasn't as strong as some of the other characters, and he kind of was just there for most of the story. Don't get me wrong, I love Lance.
Off to bed with me.
I think the character direction they went with for him was perfect. They just didn't develop him enough. But Lance is such a beefy goofball. Wait, beefy? Meat? Lance is the biggest burly member of the party, but he clearly has a soft side. Lance was like Taion at the start. He was hesitant to team up with who was once his enemy, but he actually tried, unlike a certain Mondo-wielding bastard. Anyway, I think him and Senna are a perfect duo. They complement each other so well as comedic relief characters in the game, and they are hands down the best Ouroboros forms. And the dynamic they had while interlinking is just amazing. Lance is just a really solid character in general, but not quite good enough for a top 3 spot. Now we move into number 3, where we meet our main protagonist of the game, Noah. Noah might be my favorite main protagonist in the series. For me, it's him or Rex, but at least Noah was able to make a move on his girl.
He looks just like Daddy.
Wait, Rex made a move on someone? Oh, did he finally tie the knot with Pyra?
I love you and all you guys.
Rule 5 of the Salvager Code. Get laid without a condom, and you could get yourself messed up.
Say, chum, which one do you fancy? Pyra or Mithra?
Zeke.
But in all seriousness, Noah was a phenomenal character. How can anyone get bored of him pulling out Lucky 7 and saying, Noah is a great leader with tons of character growth. After Chapter 5, where he is almost in like a purgatory state, looking at all the different Noahs and seeing why N chose the path he did was a very chilling experience. Noah, like Mio, has his goofy side as well, but when it's go time, it's go time. Watching him shred a flame clock will never not be satisfying. I also think Noah was voiced perfectly. Speaking of voicing Noah, Harry McIntyre, who is Noah's English voice actor, has a YouTube channel where he plays through the game, and those videos are amazing.
What would drunk Noah sound like? I love you. And all you guys.
So I will link his channel in the description for those who haven't stumbled upon it yet. The man also voices N, and seeing how well he can do with changing his voice, it is amazing. I think that's all I really need to say about Noah. Monolith did a good job with this one. Now, for number 2, we have the final member from Agnes, Senna. I love Senna. When I did my playthrough of the game, I overlooked Senna at first. I was too busy admiring Mio because I recognized her from the trailer, and too busy hating on Tyon to really see what a great character Senna is. Senna is just so precious, and her arc revolves around looking up to Mio, or Mimi as she calls her, and striving to be as skilled as her. In a lot of cutscenes from the past, you see Senna trying to emulate Mio, like when she tries to eat the same food as her despite not liking it. Senna often feels like she isn't contributing enough to the team, and Lance is the first to notice this. Like I said before, their dynamic is my favorite in the game. When Senna first takes the lead when interlinking, she really comes out of her shell and takes initiative, and that is one of my favorite parts of the game. Senna is a very important character, with developing characters like Shania and Gondor as well. But the reason I like Senna the most is just her character outside of the story. She is just so precious and funny. For crying out loud, she literally said the word gasp to express shock.
All the food's completely gone!
And to top it off, she has the most memorable voice lines in the game.
I'm the girl.
And I think she has my favorite battle lines as well. Just listen to some of these.
Hellbound! We're overheating! Dino upper! And don't come back! Mortal bullet! Earth crusher!
I think Senna is overlooked by a lot of people, but she is such a phenomenal character. Unfortunately for her though, there is one better. Before we get into number 1 though, I'd like to give a few honorable mentions like I said in the beginning. My favorite hero in the game is Miyabi. Didn't matter where I was in battle, Miyabi would always run a mile to get me and to support me. She is such a homie, and somehow even more precious than Senna. That's saying something. She also has one of the best idle animations in the game, and that's just an added bonus. N is my favorite member of Mobius, solely due to the fact that he is voiced so well, like I mentioned in the Noah segment. I also like X since she had a lot of character personality. Overall though, Mobius isn't my favorite group of antagonists. I just feel like they are too goofy and not menacing enough to make the battles feel intense. The battles are hard carried by that battle theme, man. But I think the story around them was written flawlessly. And coming in at number 1,
Come on, who else?
it is Uni! I already made a little video called Why Uni is My Beloved, so I don't think this should come as too much of a surprise. Who doesn't love this bird? Uni is by far the character that was memed the most about and had the most fan art made about her when the game first launched. She has so much personality and swagger while also having a deep arc. She's also just the most memorable face of the party. Uni doesn't let anyone tell her what to do. She frequently bullies Lance and confronts Tyon whenever those two are being thumbs up her arse. Her dialogue is just flawless. I will never get tired of her saying the word spark and using her sailor mouth throughout the game. I really don't think I need to say much more. Everyone likes Uni. She's easily one of my favorite characters in the series, if not my absolute favorite.
The Seekinator falls!
If you need to hear more, I'll just let the clips do the talking.
What about babies? You guys got any babies? Every time we run, why do we always end up getting drenched? I mean, feathers are a bitch to dry.
Every time being our grand total of once.
Water.
Water. Touchdown!
Number 0, we have Mwamba. Mwamba is too cool and powerful, he doesn't even need an orb